We had you on back in August, and you called the state AG's case here a fool's errand. Are they still being fools? Are they any close to getting some resolution on this?
Well, I won't call them fools. They're very distinguished people. But I think they will lose. I think they're wrong on the merits, and there are a number of reasons why. We just saw Mississippi, that attorney general, by the way, peel off a few days ago. There may be others going forward that will come off of the lawsuit as well. You've had 18 state public utility commissions look at this and bless it. And of course, the Department of Justice Antitrust Division and my old agency, the FCC, as well, bless it. So it's had an incredible amount of scrutiny. And that's one of the reasons it's going to fail. This is being sued under federal antitrust law, Section 7 of the Clayton Act in the Southern District of New York there. And the Department of Justice is opposed to the state AG's suit, right? So the great weight of the evidence shows that they'll fail because they're not even alleging, the states aren't even alleging that prices will go up. They're saying, they're agreeing they'll go down. They're just saying that prices won't go down as quickly, which is also incorrect. And it ignores a lot of fundamental questions, a lot of fundamental facts. So they're going to lose. The trial date, as I think you mentioned, is December the 9th. A lot can happen between now and then. And we're hoping that more state attorneys general realize that actually this deal is very good for America and good for the consumers of their states.
And of course, the companies will be working hard to find concessions to sort of either put that trial date off completely or at least win over as many states as possible in the meantime. Let's say it does go to trial. The obvious question is T-Mobile going to behave better if it does this deal, right? One of the things that T-Mobile has done very well is because there's more competition with Sprint in the market, they have been better with customers, prices have been lower, they've been able to do more for consumers. So the question is, does that change with the Sprint deal? Does it get better? Does it get worse?
It does get better, and here's why. There's sort of a misconception that it's a 4-3 deal. In reality, it's more of a 2-3 deal. First of all, it's hard to argue that actually Sprint is a nationwide carrier. It's in some major cities and suburban areas, but it is not end-to-end across the United States. And its balance sheet is sickly, as its CEO has testified many times. It is going to have a very difficult time borrowing money, raising the capital necessary to build out 5G. When you combine the assets, both spectrum assets, and it's a blend of high band, mid band, and low band spectrum, which the two companies fit together absolutely beautifully like a hand in a glove. Plus, you clean up Sprint's balance sheet. You are unlocking about $40 billion in capital, which can be invested over the next 3 years to build out a nationwide 5G, state-of-the-art 5G network. That will create a competitive response from AT&T and Verizon. So the new T-Mobile would still only be the number 3 carrier. So you have 2 tiers basically of carriers. You have AT&T and Verizon way up at the top with 90+% of the free cash flow of the industry, and then you have Sprint and T-Mobile down below. They would combine and still be just the 3rd carrier as the new T-Mobile, but provide a tremendous amount of capex, a surge of capex that would spark a competitive response from AT&T and Verizon. Then on the pricing front, immediately they would have 3 times more capacity. 5G can have 10 times more capacity in the near term and maybe 100 times more capacity in the long term.
On the 5G stuff, very good hand signals, by the way. I could follow them easily. So on the 5G stuff, your successor, Ajit Pai, saying yesterday that there was real importance to getting deals like this done because of the threat of China, because America needs to be the world leader in 5G if it's going to sort of see off that threat. How true is that, and how much is that going to inform the arguments and the decisions the state AGs are going to make around this deal?
It's a very real threat. In fact, I just came from a closed-door roundtable discussion on this issue at the Hudson Institute, a think tank down the street here in Washington. China is spending a lot of state money, state capital, as well as using the power of its central government to make sure there's no question regarding where antennas can go. And here we have counties, cities, and towns that can get in the way of that, et cetera. But they know this is one of their top strategic priorities, is to leapfrog the West when it comes to 5G. And they have direct state spending to do it, and 1.3 billion people, et cetera. So it's very real. If you talk to anyone in the industry or in policymaking in the US or in Europe or elsewhere, China, and Asia too, by the way. South Korea is doing quite well, and Japan as well. Japan wants to make the 2020 Olympics showcase for their 5G prowess. So Robert, it's a very real threat.
Just before I let you go, last question. Look, the spread on this deal is still very wide, about 30%. Is there a case that T-Mobile could cut the price here? Because obviously Sprint really needs this as the argument that if it doesn't happen, they potentially go to 0.
Yeah, no, this deal's going to happen. The state attorneys general problem lawsuit will go away. It's going to be an intact deal, as is, and it's going to be good for America. And you're going to have that added capacity, which will drive down prices. And if you had 3 times more gasoline on the market next year, prices would go way down per gallon, right? So that's what's going to happen to wireless prices. That's why we've seen, even with more consolidation of wireless, prices go down, because the wireless industry, their wonderful engineers, are able to produce more of the thing that it is that they sell on an exponentially larger basis year after year, and that's great for pricing.